was the bear flag, and we were speaking for the last 3 weeks about the BKX, and I think I also have a post on Twitter. And I said, listen, the projected target of this, because of this move, is going to be around 45% drop. Now, I don't know if it's going to drop 45%, but if this is confirmed, and I see that it's confirming for the last 2 weeks on the BKX, the first target for me is going to be the March 2022 lows from the COVID crash. So it's about 20% drop on the biggest banks in the United States on average. Okay, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, like I said, Citibank, etc. So the biggest ones which are in this index. Now, if this happens, it cannot go without side effects on the biggest indexes, like the ones that we just watched, Dow Jones, Nasdaq, S&P, etc. Right? If this happens, it's going to have global implications. So this is the BKX. The next one is the KRE, which I told you guys is the regional. By the way, I also did something very interesting. I have the moving average 200 is well under moving average 200 and is well under even on weekly. So it's super bearish. So the banking sector in the United States, let's do something very interesting. I'm going to remove the drawings. And I'm going to move moving average 200. And look at this. This was super bullish. And I explained to some of you guys who were in the last AMAs, when the price and the Kinshasa and the Tenkan-sen and the Chinkun span are far from the Kumo, when they are so far from the Kumo, especially the price, when the price is so far from the Kumo, like it was here, this was bullish. And we can see that BKX was growing since 2020, is growing. And guess when it started like this? Around when Federal Reserve started to already signal that they're going to move from QE to QT. And then when they started moving from QT, and I think it was around this area, they were transitioning, and from December. So around this area, they're already moving from QE to QT. And we are just transitioning lower and lower. So here was bullish because, like I said, even like half an hour ago, I was telling you guys, the price needs to be away from the cloud. As further as it's away from the cloud, as bullish as the trend is. And this was freaking weekly. Now, if we go on daily on Ichimoku, we can see that this was fake, and we are just continuing, and we are continuing lower. We broke under this. We had this bearish formation. This couldn't continue higher. And we're just printing lower and lower. So I also have this. Now, if I delete this, I have the moving average 200. We could have been bearish since March on the banks with some kind of retrace here or a correction. But now the boomer index, the moving average 200, even this is signaling. So now what we're going to do, we're going to close the indicators and we're going to go back on price action. On price action, this is what I see right now. I don't think that these lows are going to hold. So in the next few weeks, I would say, especially towards the end of October, if Federal Reserve is going to hike one more time, like we were watching the FR, if you remember, if this is going to go higher one more time, most likely we're going to see even more stress on this. More stress on this is going to mean most likely more stress on regional banks that they are even much more exposed. This was somewhat of a rising wedge. I didn't believe so much on the rising wedge, but still I believed on the macro structure: high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low. This was a bearish full macro structure. You can look at the rising wedge. You can look at this. Does not matter. My first target for this would be around the 36 area. So again, this was already around 22% drop. So here it's around 11% drop. We have another 11% drop on the regional banks. If this happens, something is gonna pop. It's very hard for the banks to survive under these conditions. We're going to see either some regional banks bleeding. We're going to see some big banks stepping in to buy the regional banks. Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan is going to be happy because he's going to buy some dollar to cents banks. We will see going forward.